With all the new casting news released about the upcoming movie adaptation for the Hunger Games prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I am excited, but also very conflicted. After being extremely late to the party and only just reading the book this past month, after finishing it, I can confidently say that this doesn't need to be a movie. It needs to be a miniseries. I was genuinely kind of shocked to see some of the less than stellar reviews about this book, and how a lot of people seemed to be disappointed by it. Most of the complaints I read about were regarding the slower pace of the book and how the book seemed to have no point up until the last couple pages. But I disagree. I thought it was great. This book isn't made to be as action-packed as the original Hunger Games trilogy because it's highlighting the protagonist Coriolanus Snow and his character arc, and also building his relationship with Lucy Gray. So it's going to be slower inherently. Overall, the book explores the more philosophical implications about living in the world of Panem and class and all sorts of that good stuff, and I found it to be really engaging to explore the choices that Coriolanus makes and the change in his character that allows him to become a dictator later on, because we already know he's going to end up as this corrupt, evil dictator president, so it's interesting to see the steps that he took to get there, and also a little bit of insight into one of the most interesting characters from the original trilogy. Definitely the highlight of this book for me was the character of Coriolanus and how complex he can become, which leads me to my first point about why this book should be turned into a miniseries. Because of the way in which the book heavily focuses on Coriolanus' character, it makes me nervous to see it put to screen in a film because there's so much complexity and richness to uncover that cramming it all into a film could potentially skip out on some of the important pieces of his character. Not to mention the stunning cast of side characters such as Lucy Gray and Sejanus that also require a bit of attention. Pacing his character development over the course of a miniseries would really highlight his transformation from capital boy to future president and give his character a little bit more time to develop. Character-driven pieces can succeed as movies, but with the added element of extensive dystopian world building and action elements that occur, I'm worried that Coriolanus' transformation will get lost among the other components. With The Hunger Games and Catching Fire, the games conclude towards the end of the book/movie, and thus the game's finale act as the climax of these two installments. However, in The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, The Hunger Games, one of the biggest events in the novel, ends at nearly the halfway mark. You then have a dramatic scenery change, with Coriolanus being relocated to District 12 to serve as a peacekeeper. The book sort of feels like two separate stories, with the games and everything before it acting as the first, and Coriolanus' time in District 12 as the second. Within a book, it makes sense, but trying to fit it all into one movie might make it awkward and bloated, and potentially even jarring for those who haven't read the book. But cutting it into two movies might drag it out, and not guarantee a return to watch the second part. A miniseries would allow the events to comfortably and understandably fit all into one piece of media. Theoretically, the finale of the games could serve as a mid-series finale or even a season finale if you wanted to split it into 2 seasons. Plus, another benefit to miniseries is that the episode lengths can be changed to accommodate to the pacing overall and find the best fit for the series. And chapters within the book kind of already divide up the story into segments. Plus, oh my god, Suzanne knows how to end a chapter. Another reason why this aspect of the novel would be better suited to this format is that you are also viewing the games through an outsider's perspective. With The Hunger Games, you view the events through the eyes of Katniss. You only really know what's happening if she herself is experiencing it. Whereas with Songbirds and Snakes, you kind of get a play-by-play of the whole games, as Coriolanus is the one who you're experiencing them through. It would be kind of cool to highlight this different perspective of watching the games and incorporate it into an episodic format. We are past the days of huge blockbuster releases of YA novel adaptations, as much as I hate to admit it. Coupled with a few slightly important events that have been going on lately, our media consumption habits have drastically changed. Streaming became basically the only way we could consume media during lockdown, and that newfound reliance on convenience doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. Besides the way in which we consume media, the first Hunger Games film came out a decade ago. We live in a very different time in terms of movie-going culture and the types of films that we are seeing in theaters. Although I'm excited for its comeback, YA adaptations are just not the hottest thing anymore, so the choice to produce this as a film seems a bit strange. What better way to bring back Hunger Games into the cultural consciousness by putting it on easily available, easily consumable formats? I mean, take the upcoming Percy Jackson reboot, TV series. Normal People, Big Little Lies, and Game of Thrones are just a couple examples of novel-to-series adaptations that prove they can be done really well and work across a variety of different genres. And this novel, which blends action, romance, dystopia, etc., can accomplish just that. There are so many ways why I believe that this novel should be turned into a miniseries. It will probably still become a movie, but I'm so headstrong about this idea because I genuinely want this movie to succeed, because not only do I love The Hunger Games, but it just genuinely feels like a well-earned adaptation, and I want to see it done justice. Do you disagree with me? Are you confident that this would do well as a film? Very curious to know your thoughts, so leave them down in the comments below so you can join in on the conversation. And if you haven't read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, highly recommend that you check it out.